So I kind of jumped the gun on the last slide, and we talked about this. This is what I was talking about. So we're not going to spend a lot of time here. This is the stuff we were talking about. So central authentication with centralized switching, that means everything's good, right? That means we're in full connected mode. So everything's fine. What happens when authentication is down and central switching is down? Well, then we're operating in standalone mode. The AP is operating in standalone mode. And depending on the configuration of your local wireless LANs and your centralized switch wireless LANs, that will totally depend on who has connectivity. Also, authentication in which wireless LANs the authentication is tied to. So which SSIDs and everything are tied to a good authentication or centralized authentication, totally going to depend in standalone mode. We talked about that already. What happens if central authentication is down? Central authentication is up, but we have local switching. We are in connected mode, right? Because that means the wide area network is up and we're just doing local switching traffic. We're fine. What happens when we're doing when authentication is down, but we're using local switching? That was our last scenario I just talked about at the end of that last slide, in which we are fine if the authentication took place prior to the authentication server going down, unless we need to reassociate. Once authentication is down and we're using local switching, we need standalone mode. We're going to be in standalone mode, which again depends upon your wireless LAN configuration. What if we're doing local authentication with local switching? What mode are we in there? We can be in standalone or connected mode. It just depends. It depends on how we have it set up for our SSID, our wireless LAN.